Zoom. Okay. So welcome, everybody. We'll just spend one more minute as we've been gathering to take a few breaths, settle down, appreciate that the technology sometimes gives us a little challenge, and appreciate the reason for the challenge. Zoom wouldn't let me in because I haven't signed in over a month as with this address. So, you know, it's good security. So that's nice. So we focus on that, the little tidbits of gratitude that we can find even when we're a little distressed. So we have entered the month of Elul. And as you all know, I was away for much of August. And I have the practice every few years, I pick up Alan Liu's book, This is Real and You Are Completely Unprepared. And this is one of the years that I decided to pick up the book again. And for those of you who are not familiar with this book, he starts talking about the preparation for this season with Tisha B'Av as the low point in the year. It's a time of deep mourning when we are remembering the destruction of the temple and many other disastrous things that happened to the Israelites and the Jewish people over the millennia. And he takes us through that and into Elul as a beginning of real preparation for what this holiday season is all about. And he goes very methodically through this time period. So we have Elul, and then we have Slichot, and then Rosh Hashanah, and then 3 separate chapters that are devoted to various aspects of Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre, Yom Kippur, and Nila, the closing service. And then he ends the book with a discussion about the end of this high holiday period of Sukkot, which is the time of our joy. I mean, we are commanded to be joyful, which is something we'll discuss when we get there. So I don't want to skip ahead. So I've been reading the book, and my practice this year is to kind of read as I'm entering each of these pieces. So I haven't read ahead. I have stopped here in Elul. And I want to just share one short little parts of 2 sentences from Alan Liu from this book on page 67. So we are advised to spend the month of Elul in the regular practice of introspection, self-examination, and silence, to find out who we are and where we are going. So I think that that's just a wonderful kind of really nugget of what this month is all about. To pay attention, practice introspection and self-examination. Be silent, be quiet, listen to yourself, and find out who we are and where we're going. You know, what do we want for this next year for ourselves? How do we want to be in this coming year? So there is a tradition to read Psalm 27 every day, starting with the beginning of the month of Elul through this whole period, actually. And I have come upon several really lovely interpretations, English interpretations of this very traditional psalm. And one that I have shared with you in prior years that I really like a lot, I think it might be my favorite, is Sheila Pels-Weinberg's interpretation. And I am going to invite you to just sit back and relax, maybe close your eyes and really listen. And as you're listening, and I'm going to read this to you, as you're listening, see what stands out for you. And if you want to jot some notes to yourself, be my guest. So, so here we go with Sheila Pels-Weinberg's interpretation, which she has actually entitled a Dharmic interpretation, Dharmic interpretive translation, Psalm 27. Awareness is sunlight in the mind. No one can take that from me. Awareness is my life's stronghold. It absorbs all fear. The hindrances and defilements are as close as my flesh and mind, but they dissolve in the light of being known. Even though I feel assaulted by hostile forces, my heart remains confident, balanced, and patient. I seek only one thing alone, to connect to this moment. Nowhere else, only this, nothing less, my palace in time. When difficulties arise, I have a hiding place in my own heart, a secret tent where I can go and feel safe, a rock to rest my head upon. Greed, hatred, and delusion don't stop coming, but when they are met with a spacious heart, they don't stick around, leaving me so grateful I want to sing out loud. Listen, world, the power of love sets me free. When I turn to face my heart, then everyone and everything is revealed. Let this truth not be hidden from me. If only I could remember always what seems so clear right now. Wisdom would guide my every moment. Awareness and compassion would be a father and a mother to me. But I can follow the guidance of those who have walked this path before, trying to stay alert to the obstacles along the way, because delusion and hatred aren't disappearing so fast. Still, I affirm my faith in the power of goodness. May we take courage. May we be strong. May our hearts be so filled with love, there is no room for anything else. May we see the arising and passing of all conditioned things. May we open to the unconditioned. So there are quite a few lines in this interpretation that really stand out for me. That very first line, awareness is sunlight in the mind, grabs my attention. It is, it's a call to being aware, being self-aware, being in the moment. It's a call to meditation. And in some ways, that line says it all. but there really is more. The other piece that is really powerful for me and that I want to spend some time with is greed, hatred, and delusion don't stop coming. But when they are met with a spacious heart, they don't stick around, leaving me so grateful. I want to sing out loud. Listen, world, the power of love sets me free. I mean, that's profound. The power of love sets me free. So, you know, we all know that greed, hatred, and delusion are present in our lives. Frankly, it's very easy for me to notice these qualities in other people. Maybe sidestep noticing these qualities in myself. And that's where that first line comes in. I need to be self-aware. I need to pay attention. So I want to acknowledge I get greedy. I definitely want more of the things I like, the things I find pleasurable. I got a little confused when I was thinking about hate. Hate is one of those words that I tend not to use. I grew up in a house where I said I hated something, and it was probably something like spinach, I don't know. And my mother became extremely upset with me about the use of that word. Another word that I wasn't allowed to use was starving. I was never starving. You might be hungry, but you're not starving. And she was right about starving, but I never learned really what hate is. So I started really thinking about that. And there certainly are things that I don't like, but I consider myself to be a pretty accepting person. But I'm aware that there are people, behaviors that I find kind of repulsive and repugnant. So I was thinking, well, maybe that's really hate. And what I do with those things that I find so difficult is I shut them out. I close my eyes, I close my ears, I withdraw. I try not to see these things. I try not to let these kinds of things invade my space. And that's probably where delusion comes in. I wonder, am I being realistic, or do I engage in wishful thinking a lot? So these are some of the things that, the ideas, the thoughts that came up for me as I was reading this and studying it and sitting with it. And I think that my tendency, I'll use that word, my tendency to ignore that which is repugnant to me is a little delusional, because I'm pretending it's not there. And so it's not realistic. So this notion that greed, hatred, and delusion don't stop coming is really true for me. And when they are met with a spacious heart, they don't stick around is also really true and really important. So I know that when I acknowledge that something is so distasteful or so difficult, that acknowledgement itself creates a spaciousness in my heart, in my being. And that's a spacious heart. And that reduces the power of this repugnancy, whatever it was. So I think that when we have a spacious heart, we are open-hearted. And when we are open-hearted, that sets us free. And that power of love sets us free. That line is just so incredibly important to me. So we're really running low on time today, and I apologize. I know that there are some of you who might need to hop off at 11:30. Usually I am ending our meditation at this time, but we'll sit for 5 minutes, and then I'll wind us up a little bit after 11:30. So I invite you to take your seat and hope that you're feeling really supported where you're sitting. And I invite you to really let your crown of your head reach up to the heavens. And tuck that chin just a little bit. It also helps elongate the spine. And we'll take a couple of cleansing breaths. And breathing in as fully as you can. And exhaling slowly and completely through an open mouth. So as we sit today, you may want to focus on this notion of having a spacious heart and imagine yourself breathing into your heart space. And you may want to repeat the phrase, "The power of love sets me free," as a mantra. And you may want to focus on something else, and that's fine too. And do whatever is going to work best for you. But wherever you set your intention, please stay with that for the duration of this meditation, which will be short and sweet. And so as we are beginning to close our meditation time, I want to just share one other line from this interpretation of Psalm 27. May we take courage. May we be strong. May our hearts be so filled with love, there is no room for anything else. So as you are slowly coming back to the room, I will share a poem that I have shared many times before called Clearing. Do not try to save the whole world or do anything grandiose. Instead, create a clearing in the dense forest of your life and wait there patiently until the song that is yours alone to sing falls into your own cupped hands and you recognize and greet it. Only then will you know how to give yourself to this world, so worth of rescue. So we will stop the recording.